Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about VHS 99, the fifth entry in the VHS proper series, 6 if you count the spin-off Siren. So,
Yeah. I think that this is one of the better entries.
I would actually agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. This is one of the better entries. It's also, I think Jack even said this right after we watched the movie, the most consistent entry to date.
Yeah.
And I would actually agree. Every single segment is on fire in this particular one. And the worst segment in this is better than the best segment of VHS Viral.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But actually, that's not saying a lot because VHS Viral isn't that great. But, you know, like...
I personally think it's dog shit.
Yeah, exactly. But this is also, like, the goofiest entry in the VHS franchise.
It's the most tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah. It's got, like, this kind of horror comedy element to it. And, like, this EC comic style, like, ghoulish ending for each segment.
None of them are very serious.
Yeah.
That's not to say that they aren't good. They're actually some of the best ones that they've done. It's also the one that stuck to the VHS format, unlike literally all the others.
Incorrect. VHS 94 was also all on VHS.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, 94. Yeah.
These two are both the ones that are all on VHS, as opposed to some of the other ones, which is like clearly not VHS.
Right. Some of the, because in the first one, it's like, oh, we've got Google Glasses. It's like, yeah, that's not VHS cassette. I don't know how that's on a VHS cassette, but whatever.
It's because both this one and the previous one were both set in the 90s. So it's like they're just flat out using VHS or SVHS cameras.
Yeah. Basically. And man, this one's really good.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. Like, if you're not into horror comedies, you might not like it as much if you liked the more serious entries of the previous VHSs. But if you're into goofy shit like Return of the Living Dead or Evil Dead 2 or Creepshow, you're going to get a lot out of this movie. And in case you were wondering, yes, it is because of Creepshow that I decided to go with this lighting scheme for this video. We are once again trying out yet another lighting scheme. So comment below and let us know what you feel about the green and red one.
Another great thing about VHS 99 is that it's also the one, it starts out great and ends on the best one.
Yeah. It just keeps getting better and better as it goes. To a certain extent, I would probably argue that probably my least favorite segment, and I still love it, to be clear, is probably the second segment, but I still like it a lot.
Which one was the second one?
The second segment is the sorority one.
Oh, okay.
Which is still good.
Yeah, it's still very
great.
good.
And
yeah.
if that's your weakest segment, you're doing great for in terms of an anthology film.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we mentioned that before. I guess I figured if we're on the 5th VHS film, you're well aware that VHS is an anthology series with each entry being a found footage, like a literal found footage segment.
This one is interesting because it's a single VHS tape that is found.
This one feels like what you kind of expected going into the original VHSs. Yeah. That it was going to be one VHS tape that has a bunch of things recorded over it.
Yeah.
And that each one like creates a segment. Yeah. And that's basically the way this one is structured. It's basically structured like one kid's like army VHS video.
Yeah, it starts out with a guy like animating little army man.
Yeah. And every segment is someone had recorded over that army tape with their own footage.
Yeah.
Really cool conceit. And it's also the most VHS of the conceits.
Yes.
You don't have that like meta disconnect that some of the other ones do where you're actually seeing how it's being distributed around.
Yeah, because in the first one, it's like a bunch of guys are breaking into a house where all the tapes exist.
Yeah.
Similar for the second one. The third one is the one with the van. And then it was...
The fourth one is when the cops go and siege that underground like thing.
The cult bunker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's all these tapes and shit in there. Like, this one feels like one of the tapes that they found in one of the other ones.
Yes.
Is what it feels like.
Yeah, it does.
Which is pretty cool. In the spoiler section, we will go segment by segment and talk about how we felt about them. But for right now, what you need to know is probably the best segment is To Hell and Back, the final segment. And I already said my least favorite one is the sorority house one, the second one. But the fact that it's my least favorite and I still love it says a lot.
Yeah, Hell and Back was done by the director, writer, and the actor from
Deadstream.
Yes.
Yes, it is the husband and wife team that made Deadstream, also made To Hell and Back.
Yeah, To Hell and Back, and the actress who played Chrissy in Deadstream returns in another role.
She completely steals the show as Mabel in this.
Oh, yes.
We're not going to tell you what Mabel is right here. You're going to have to find out when you go watch it, but let's just say she is the Ratma of this particular VHS movie, and that the moment she shows up, she steals the entire show.
Yeah. Like, the highlight characters of the VHS series right now are Lily, Ratma, and Mabel.
Yeah, I would agree. They're some of the best ones. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, we're going to jump right into the spoiler section because we got a bunch of vlogs to record today, so we're going to try to barrel through them. It is currently available on Shudder, so if you want to watch it, you're going to have to go subscribe to Shudder to watch VHS 99. As per usual, Shudder tends to put their original movies on home video at some point, so you can probably find a Blu-ray somewhere if you look for it. And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
First one.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually pull it up right here. All right, So the first segment of it, not counting the wraparound, the first segment is called Shredding. Now, Shredding is written and directed by Maggie Levin, who did an episode of Into the Dark. I don't know if you remember this one, but it's the one where it's a pop star and her like abusive producer.
I love that one. Yeah,
she directed that one.
Day
She wrote and directed that one. And she also directed this, Shredding. This segment is about a punk rock band that has decided to break into this abandoned underground club in which another punk rock band in the past played, but the whole place burnt down and they were trampled and killed inside of this club.
Yeah.
And so their whole thing is that they're going to go down there and, fuck around and find out, basically.
Yeah.
The other thing about this segment is that the band that the band that are our main protagonists are pranksters. And in particular, they prank each other a lot, but they also just kind of isolate this one member of the band who I believe is their drummer. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's a drummer.
And they just pick on him like it's nobody's business. So right away, you have a band of kids that are just complete assholes. Like, there's a point in which they convince him that, like, his drum set, like, magically appeared down there.
Yeah.
He's freaking out because he's Indian, right? Like,
yeah, he's Hindu.
He believes that messing with the spirits is a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
And so these kids are constantly messing with the spirits, and he's actually brought down, like salt and some various provisions so that, like, in case the spirits rise up.
Yeah, he's like, got my, it's not a crucifix, but I've got my holy symbol, I got my salt, got my holy water.
And they're making fun of him for all this, but naturally, they end up pissing off the spirits. The original band that died there, Bitch Cat, which is an awesome name.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Arises from the dead and kills them one by one, and they look like Return of the Living Dead zombies.
They're like ghouls.
Yeah.
Like
if you remember in Return of the Living Dead, how the zombies all had that like really like EC Comics look to them.
Yes.
They do in this too. Now, to be fair, you can tell that they can't move their faces sometimes, and it's
the makeup's a little rigid.
It makes it look like a little bit like a rubber mask at times, but because the segment is overall comedic in tone, it doesn't matter that much.
Oh, yeah. If I got my cake, was good, you're not going to have a problem with this.
Return of the Living Dead had some stiff faces, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
so. the only one that really moved particularly well was Tarman.
Yeah, so, like, Return of the Living Dead was what I thought of for the obvious reasons. You have the punk rock and horror and zombies.
Yeah.
But they're more like ghost zombies, like Fulci style.
Yeah. You're not entirely sure what the rules are here. But, like, the point is that a punk rock riot girl band rises from the dead as zombie ghoul things and kill them.
Yeah, rips them to pieces, like eviscerated. Right away, we're starting with some gore. And then strings them together and forces them to put on a show as, like, Frankenstein versions of themselves.
Yeah, it's really, they're basically...
Their body parts are all stitched together.
Yeah, it's like they basically wear the bodies of the other band.
And then they possess the band in those Frankenstein bodies. It's pretty wild. It's a really wild segment. My only real criticism of the segment is that there are times in which it's hard to tell what's going on because of the shaky cam, more so than the other segments.
Yeah, a little bit more so than the others.
It's mainly when all hell's breaking loose, like towards the midpoint of it, that it gets a little like, okay, I want to actually see the zombie rip someone apart. So can you slow down the shaky cam a minute?
It's a really good start.
Oh yeah, I fucking
really good start.
The moment we're introduced to the punk rock kids, and then we see like the flashbacks, which is obviously they recorded over a tape of the original band. We get the vibe that this VHS is gonna have a very punk rock ethos to it.
Oh yeah.
Even when it's not about punk rockers, you can feel that punk rockness.
It's fucking got that in
I was all in. I was all in at that point. Which leads us into the second segment, Suicide Bid by Joanne Roberts. I might have mispronounced the name. It's like Johannes or something like that.
Johannes.
Johannes? Johannes? Okay. Johannes Roberts, who directed The Strangers 2, Welcome to Raccoon City, and 47 Below. This segment is about a girl who's trying to enter a very exclusive sorority, and the sorority decides to haze her by burying her in a cemetery overnight. And then all hell's
things go wrong.
Yeah, and then things go wrong from there. This is my least favorite segment, but I still love it. Basically, what ends up happening is she's buried overnight. Now, originally, they were just gonna like let her out after a couple hours, but then the cops arrived, so they just fucking scattered and showed up the next day, but then it rained that night.
Yeah,
so she
drowns in that box.
Yes, but it turns out that there is a legend in this cemetery of this girl who also was put in a box and suffocated inside of a box, and now appears in the cemetery to drag people down to hell, essentially. And this turns out to be true, because that particular figure appears and drags the main character down to hell, but not before they make a deal in which she throws all the other sorority sisters into a box and then drags them into hell. So they have to go through what she went through. It's a very simple segment. It's probably the most EC Comics feeling segment.
Oh, yeah.
Right down to the fact that the design of the ghost school when she appears, once again, feels like an EC comic character.
You can see that, like, classic, comic work in that thing.
Now, much like the first segment, the mask that the person's wearing is a little stiff, so it is a little, like, on the goofier side, but it's supposed to be. Like, it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be taken too seriously. This segment is probably one of the tenser ones because there's a huge section of it that is just her trapped inside the coffin.
Yeah.
And man, if you have any ounce of claustrophobia, that's gonna get to you. Especially once the spiders are unleashed.
Oh,
they give her this box.
That was so mean.
They give her this box and you're like, open this up. It'll give you strength when you
open this when you're most terrified.
And
it's a box of spiders.
Mm-hmm. So she gets covered in spiders. And of course, like that's around the time the police arrive and it starts raining and shit. So she's like fucking smashing spiders, not realizing that everyone's scattering upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh man. It's a fucking tense segment, but it has a great payoff.
Yeah, gotta hand it to the lead of this one.
Oh yeah, she carries it and she carries it well.
Yes.
This one probably has the most ridiculous like justification for her having the camera. Like, here, hold the camera. It'll give you light while you're down there.
Here.
And I'm just like, oh, because she happens to have the one camera from the 90s that had a light attached to it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I know. Because I was like, cameras in the 90s are like that big.
Especially one with a light on it.
Yeah.
It would be really heavy.
Yeah. They didn't have no LEDs.
Leads us into the next segment, Ozzy's Dungeon by Flying Lotus.
Yes. He's back in the director's chair. It's been a while. Last time he was there, he made the movie Kuzo, which is also on Shudder, which is excellent, by the way. Very classy flick. You should check it out.
Kuzo is a completely fucked up mindfuck of a movie. Now, Ozzy's Dungeon isn't quite the same mindfuck, though it turns into one by the end of it. But it is without a doubt the most fucked up of the segments in this movie. What it centers around is a Nickelodeon-style kids game show. You know how the old Nickelodeon shows in the 90s had all those like slime game shows?
like Double Dare or, Legend of the Forbidden Temple.
Exactly. Now imagine Legend of the Forbidden Temple, but the kids are competing for like an eldritch horror that they're going to get an audience with and make a wish to. The entirety of the games are based around this eldritch horror. So they're like climbing through like it's like esophagus and shit.
Yeah.
And like sliding through its bladder. It's really messed up and fucked. But that is only like the initial premise. It eventually evolves into a mom taking revenge on the host of the show.
Yeah.
Because her kid got injured and didn't win the ultimate game.
Yeah, that doesn't just get injured, like loses her leg.
Yeah, her leg just gets fucked. So she gets revenge on this guy by making him go through a mocked up version that they made in a garage of the game while also like stabbing him in the stomach and like torturing him.
Yeah.
So it's a little like it turns into like a torture horror film in the middle part. But then it evolves into a straight up Lovecraftian story when he mentions that Ozzy's still around. He never left the planet. I can get you your wish. And then takes them back to the studio, which is now under heavy lockdown with like people with guns like guarding it. Sneaks them in, goes inside the little temple that Ozzy's supposedly in, and then introduces them to this pregnant lady laying on top of this slab, who then beckons the kid who's making the wish over. She makes her wish. It's whispered into the person's ear. We don't hear it. And then Ozzy erupts from her stomach, and it's this fucking like, I don't know what else to call it. If you've seen From Beyond.
Yeah.
It's
like a Dr. Pretorius.
Yeah, it looks like a Dr. Pretorius thing. It screeches, and then everyone's face melts and explodes. I love this segment. It's the most fucked up. It's the most gross. It's the most gnarly. I am not shocked Flying Lotus made it.
Oh my God. Like, actually, the actress playing the mom.
Oh my God, she's amazing.
She is taunting the fucking game show host, who is, that actor. Fuck. Damn it. Oh! Better Call Saul.
Stephen Ogg.
Yeah, Stephen Ogg.
Is apparently his name. And yeah, Better Call Saul, The Tick, Snowpiercer, Westworld. This guy's been around.
Yeah, he's in a bunch of shit.
What I like about him is that he nails the Nickelodeon host while adding a dark edge to it.
Yeah.
Really well. And also, when he's not in host mode and just playing like the host normal guy, he's great there too.
Yeah.
You start to feel bad for him.
Like if they ever redid fucking Running Man, he'd make a great Kelley.
Oh yeah, 100%. He would be great. Into the next segment, which is, I believe, the wraparound. The wraparound turns into the fourth segment, basically. Yeah. This is called The Gawkers by Tyler MacIntyre. Tyler MacIntyre, right?
Tyler MacIntyre.
Okay, Tyler MacIntyre, who directed Patchwork and Tragedy Girls. And this segment is about a group of boys, one of the boys being the boy who was making the Little Army Men video at the beginning of the movie and basically the subsequent wraparound of the movie.
Yeah.
And they have a new neighbor who moved in next door, Fright Night style. And she is this hot chick that they are constantly gawking over.
Top blonde.
They're peeping Tomming her all the time. And they come up with this scheme to get the youngest of them, who's the one making the Little Army Men.
Yeah.
And also who doesn't want to do this, but is kind of convinced to by the other boys, to go over and install a webcam in that lady's house because she has a webcam she wants to install for her work. And put malware.
A malware that will basically send the recorded signal directly to a computer at their house.
Yeah, basically so they can watch her webcam while she's has her computer on.
Right. So they can look at her like taking a shower and stuff.
Exactly. Getting naked and undressing and all that shit. So that they do this, they successfully do this. This leads to her discovering that they did this, screeching, running around on their roof. And basically it's revealed that she has snakes for her hair.
Yeah, she's a Gorgon.
She wears a fucking fake hairpiece, and then when she takes it off, snakes appear. Now, the snake effects is not the greatest, but what is awesome is watching her run around, rip these kids apart, and then turn the rest of them into stone. Yeah. And what I like about it is the way they turn into stone is very much they look like the army men in the other segment, which is pretty cool.
And this one is telegraphed 10 miles away because they're constantly like, man, what are all those statues doing over there? She's a sculptor or something? And you're like, she's a Medusa.
Yeah. And what I kind of like about this segment is what this segment feels like is it feels like someone watched American Pie recently, realized how fucked up a lot of the shit that happens in that movie is, and decided to turn it into a horror film.
They're not nearly as sympathetic as the ones in American Pie are supposed to be.
Yeah, well, in American Pie, they're supposed to be sympathetic. And this, like, it removes all that sympathy. With the exception of the one boy who's kind of coerced into it all.
Yeah, but he still gets it.
He still gets it.
You still did it. You still tried to fuck me. Yeah.
You had a choice. Peer pressure or no, you had a choice.
Yeah, choice. Yeah.
You know, your brother's a dickhead. You didn't have to listen to him. Which leads us into the final and best segment by my estimation.
Hell and Back.
To Hell and Back by Vanessa and Joseph Winter, who, as we stated before, directed Deadstream.
It's these two guys who are here to record a witchcraft ritual.
Yes.
And they've been invited. They're just like, okay, we're making a documentary. We'll record this.
So they're recording the ritual in which they're supposed to summon a demon and put it inside this one chick. And that's the ritual. They're bringing a demon into the mortal realm and having it possess a avatar.
Yeah.
What ends up happening, though, is they perform the ritual, something goes wrong, and they, the videographers, get sent straight to hell. And they have to run through hell to try to find the demon that the witches were going to summon so they can ride the demon back to the mortal realm.
So they can piggyback it back to the mortal realm. Yeah. And when they get to hell, like, it's kind of as advertised.
Yeah.
A lot of, the look of the thing reminded me a lot of the video game Agony.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I was thinking there's a little Clive Barker's Jericho in this too.
Yeah.
Where it kind of has that, like, hellscape kind of looks like a desert with a lot of rock formations, but like if you just look over the horizon, there's like giant fucking demons silhouetted in the sky, and like people getting eviscerated, and like monsters of unfathomable design lurking around every corner. Like that one, like, it looks like really, really tiny until it got up and it's like this giant centipede thing. And so they're running through hell, running into various demons, and the effects here are amazing. It is great. Each demon looks great, and the silhouettes in the sky of monsters and the sound effects are great. While these two jackasses are fucking arguing the entire time.
Yeah, now here's the thing. They are the most likable protagonists.
Yeah, they're great.
Of the series.
Of all of these segments in this, they're definitely the most likable protagonists.
Yeah, because they're just like normal guys. They're not doing something super fucked up. They are just normal guys in a fucked up situation.
They're the complete opposite of the Deadstream protagonists.
Yeah.
They're kind of working through their own personal issues like it's a buddy cop story.
Yeah.
While they're running through this.
Maybe we got sent to hell because I slept with your girlfriend. Yeah. You really want to talk about this right now?
It'd be like if Bill and Ted going to hell was taken more seriously.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that.
Yeah. And they're trying to figure out what to do now that they're in hell. And you're wondering, all right, well, how does the footage get back to the real world? They run into Mabel, who is like, I get the feeling that the way this works is that you get sent to hell, and if you're there long enough, you basically turn into a demon of some kind.
That's the vibe you get from Mabel, that she was once human and now she's a demon of some kind.
Yeah.
She is Mabel the Skullbiter.
Yes.
That is her full title?
She looks very human, but it's like clearly like, she at some point she was like burned on, had her hair burned off, and also she's crazy.
Oh yeah, she's completely crazy. And she becomes like their Gollum on this journey. If you imagine them as Frodo and Samwise, she's Gollum. And she's leading them down the path, but they don't know if they can trust her the entire time.
Yeah. And occasionally she will, like a hyperactive cat, she will just run off. Mm-hmm. And then they will go after her because they don't know what else to do. Yep. And they'll just find her like eating a dude. Yeah. And she's like, there's a point where she's like just holding this one guy's leg and just like eating it. And they come forward and she's like, huh? Yeah, you want some? You want some? Good leg.
She is awesome. She is adorable. All hail Mabel. Just flat out.
Yeah, and what she wants in return for helping these guys is, she's like, well, if you were sent here, that means that someone has the book, the Necronomicon, the fill in the blank. When you get back to the real world, I want you to write my name in it. I'm Mabel the Skullbiter, leader of 30 legions of demons.
Yep. And so what ends up happening is they jump onto the demon that they're supposed to attach to. They get sent back, but they get sent back possessing someone. And they're immediately killed by the witches that summon them, thinking they're the demons. When one of them is dying, he writes Mabel's name into the book with his blood. And then during the end credits, you hear them hailing Mabel.
Yeah, they're summoning Mabel at the end, which I was like, please don't just end it here. We gotta know that Mabel got what she wanted.
Well, because she gets stabbed by a demon while they're on their way out.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh no, did Mabel die? No, Mabel lived.
No.
They're summoning Mabel. So yeah, that is VHS 99. It is the most consistent, the most goofy, but also one of the most fun VHS films
the most
yet.
punk rock.
Absolutely the most punk rock, without a goddamn doubt. Oh, that's actually a great other point. This entire To Hell and Back segment felt like any second of it could have been a cover for like a metal album in the 80s.
Yeah, any minute you're gonna pull back and like fucking Eddie from Iron Maiden.
Yeah, it's got that vibe. It's got that. It's like we started off punk and ended up metal by the end. Where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at CountIngJack. You can find me on Twitch at Count_Jackula, where I stream throughout the week, and I'd love to see you there. And you can also follow me also on Instagram at Satanic Jackula. How about you?
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema, and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way. $5 will take you even further, and $10 will take you to the moon. That's probably not going to be part of the routine going forward, but I wanted to call back to it because that was fun in that vlog we did that. Anyway, my fellow Gorehounds, if you made it this far into the vlog, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag All Hail Mabel the Skullbiter. Work that into your comment below, that way I know, that way Jack knows, that way the whole world knows you watched this vlog all the way through. Now, with that said, we got a couple more vlogs to bank because we're gonna have friends coming over in a week, and I wanna make sure I have content to put up while they're here. So we're gonna go do that. Peace out, and I'll catch y'all later.